Welcome to another series of our English grammar. This time, let's dive into the magic of combining ideas with complex sentences. We're going to talk about what is a complex sentence, structure of complex sentences, subordinating conjunctions, and also the summary. Let's start with what is a complex sentence? Complex sentence is a type of sentence that contains one main clause or known as independent clause and at least one subordinate clause or dependent clause. Independent clause is a clause that gives a complete thought, while dependent clause is a group of words that contains a subject and verb but does not express a complete thought. Just like how this locomotive can move on its own, a main clause can stand alone as a complete sentence, but when we add train cars, they need the locomotive to pull them along. Similarly, a dependent clause needs a main clause to make sense. For example, the teacher explained the concept clearly because the students were confused. The independent clause, the teacher explained the concept clearly, can stand alone because it's a complete thought with a subject and predicate. The dependent clause, because the students were confused, adds the reason but relies on the independent clause to provide the full meaning. To connect the dependent clause to the main clause or independent clause, we can use subordinating conjunctions. Next, let's talk about the structure of complex sentences. Structure 1. In this structure, the dependent clause is presented first, followed by the independent clause that provides the main idea and clarifies or enhances the dependent clause. Independent clause plus dependent clause. For example, she decided to take a day off because she needed some rest. The independent clause is, she decided to take a day off. It presents the main idea, while the dependent clause is, because she needed some rest. It adds the reason for the decision to take a day off. The subordinating conjunction because connects the two clauses. Structure 2. In this structure, the additional information or context is provided first, setting up the main idea which follows as the conclusion or result. Dependent clause, comma, independent clause. For example, although it was raining, my family went rafting down the river. The independent clause, my family went rafting down the river, presents the main action. The dependent clause, although it was raining, introduced by the subordinating conjunction although, shows the condition or contrast. Now, let's focus more on subordinating conjunctions. As mentioned before, subordinating conjunctions are words that link a dependent clause to an independent clause. Some common categories of subordinating conjunctions include cause and effect, contrast, condition, time. First, cause and effect relationships. Cause and effect show how one event, the cause, leads to another event, the effect, explaining why something happens. Here are some of the common conjunctions of cause and effect. Example: she made a video call to her friend as she needed advice. Second, showing contrast. Contrast highlights how one idea is different from another, emphasizing the differences between them. The common conjunctions are the example: they enjoy hiking while others prefer staying indoors. Third, expressing condition. Conditions express when an action depends on another happening. Subordinating conjunctions link a dependent clause, the condition, to an independent clause, the result. The common conjunctions are example: we can go for a picnic provided that it doesn't rain. Fourth, indicating time. Time subordinating conjunctions connect clauses to show the timing of an action or event relative to another. The common conjunctions are Example: we can start the game once everyone is here. Summary. Let's recap the lesson today about complex sentences. A complex sentence is a type of sentence that contains one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Thanks for joining today's lesson about complex sentences. Until next time, keep practicing your grammar. Bye-bye.